Unattended death cleanup. Whether you are a professional or a member of the general public, you should be aware of what unattended death cleanup entails and how you can protect yourself. After all, you may be in contact with a number of hazardous substances, such as blood and bodily fluids. What is an unattended death? Whether you are cleaning an unattended death scene yourself or hiring a professional, it is important to understand what you are getting into. This type of cleaning process is not easy and can be dangerous. There are many risks associated with it, including exposure to bloodborne pathogens, and the decomposition of the body. An unattended death is a death that occurs in the home of a lone resident. Often, the death remains undiscovered for days or weeks. Often, this is due to a lack of regular visitors to the home. Depending on the extent of the scene, unattended death cleanup can be expensive. Getting help from professionals is the best way to make sure that the area is sanitized and free from contaminants. Cleaning an unattended death scene requires specialist equipment and training. It is also important to make sure that the company you hire is reputable. There are many companies that offer cleanup services. You may be able to find one that works with your insurance provider. A professional biorecovery team will use specialized equipment to remove potentially harmful substances from an unattended death scene. They will also use highly concentrated solvents to disinfect the area. If you do not have a trained professional to help you, you could be putting yourself and your family at risk. Biohazard cleanup is important for your health, safety and the sale of your home. Who cleans up after an unattended death? Trying to figure out who cleans up after an unattended death can be an emotional and stressful time for the family. Fortunately, there are companies that specialize in death cleanup services that can help. These professionals have the necessary equipment and training to safely and thoroughly disinfect the scene. It's important to hire a company that is licensed, insured, and reputable. Make sure to ask about the company's experience and reputation. If possible, choose a company that will treat the deceased with respect. During the unattended death cleanup process, a professional biorecovery team will use commercial-grade cleaning compounds to safely disinfect the scene. This includes disinfecting blood and body fluids. These contaminants can be spread to other people. These materials can also be difficult to remove. Unattended deaths can go on for days. During this time, the impacted area can develop a stench. The odor may linger for years. It's important to remove this odor as quickly as possible. Besides disinfecting the scene, a professional biorecovery team can also deodorize it. This helps the family get back to normal. This process can also be difficult for families that are dealing with the loss of a loved one. A biorecovery team will give compassionate advice to help the family understand what to do. Unattended deaths can also cause health risks. Besides creating a smell, the liquids that a deceased person left behind can create an unsafe environment. This can result in disease transmission. How much is an unattended death cleanup? Having to deal with an unattended death can be a stressful experience. Not only is it emotionally challenging, but it can be expensive to do. If you have to clean up after a death, it is best to do it with a professional service provider. They offer a number of ways to help alleviate the financial burden. Unattended death cleanup is different from other forms of cleanup. This is because it may involve the removal of hazardous biological materials, such as blood and other body fluids. This can cause additional property damage, and can also expose people to bloodborne pathogens. A professional cleaning service can help you restore your home to its original condition. They have the equipment, training, and licensing to safely remove and dispose of biohazards. They will also clean and deodorize the area impacted by the unattended death. you should get a quote from several companies. This will give you a better idea of how much the cleanup will cost. You can also ask about any specials or discounts that they offer. You might be pleasantly surprised by the savings you could obtain from using a professional service. The cost of a cleanup after an unattended death depends on several factors. The cause of the death, the area of the home affected, and the length of time the body was left can all affect the cost.